All right, folks, we just got down to the river. It is finally a sunny day here in Montana, and I've been waiting on this day to finish up my filming. This will give you a good idea of how this camera performs in, decently well-lit skies. It's partly cloudy, I would say, but it looks like there still is some sun. And then lastly, I just saw in my hometown they're having something called a holiday hoopla. You can only assume it's going to have holiday lights and holiday cheer and festivities. So this will give us a good chance to check out how the Ace Pro 2 does in low light. So yeah, I gotta get these dogs out of here. When I'm using an action camera, I'm usually doing some type of activity and typically on the move. So when I'm doing that, I really like my camera to be more of a indiscreet, barely noticeable, barely thought about companion to my adventure. In other words, you don't need all those bells and whistles at times, and you certainly don't need to be distracted by the camera when you should be engaged in the moment. For the purposes of this video, I have everything in automatic. I'm also using the MegaView, and I'm using the normal or standard color profile. If that changes, I will have all the information on my camera settings on the bottom corner of this video. But truth be told, when it comes to action cameras, there really is no one size fits all. You first need to understand what is your style. What type of filming do you want to do? What type of activities are you doing? And lastly, how much time you want to spend fussing with settings or messing with your footage in post-production. 99% of the people who are going to buy these cameras aren't pros. I'm not a pro. I do YouTubes and I shoot things like most people do, like an average everyday person. So I don't need all the bells and whistles, and I don't feel like I need 10-bit. All right, so now we're actually shooting in Insta360's iLog, which is their log format. And that's the reason it kind of looks dull. There's not much color here, but this is designed so those of you that may want to color grade can actually do it. So for me, I can make it go from looking like this to looking like this. So yes, even though it does have 8-bit, and you need to be very careful if you are going to use log and you're going to try to color grade it, or if you're going to try to color grade any of this footage. But I still think you can get some pretty stunning results if you are someone that likes to tinker with color grading and color correction. Maybe you don't want to color grade, right? I think that's fine, but there are a whole bunch of other options, to include some filters that Leica has put together that you can overlay on your footage, like LUTs. Hey, I think they look pretty good. Check these out. While this camera may lack 10-bit, where it kind of shines is it has 8K up to 30 frames per second. And if you drop that down, you can get 4K 120. And it does a really good job. Check out some of the slow motion. In terms of some of the other specs, it comes with a standard lens that's going to be about 157-degree field of view, so it is quite wide. We have a whole bunch of different perspectives. It also has a 2.6 aperture and the ability to do photographs in 50 megapixels. All right, this mode that you're seeing on the screen right now is something they call freeform mode. And it shoots in a perspective that allows you easily to either have this in vertical mode or have this in horizontal mode, and you can do it in post. Now, this is very similar to something like Open Gate, and it's just gonna make it a lot easier for those creators who might shoot in both type of perspectives. DJI just came out with this for the Action 6, but where it originated from, at least in the action camera world, was Insta360. One of the great things that I've noticed about the Insta360 Ace Pro 2 that I've really struggled with other action cameras is that it does a really good job in automatic with stabilization. It has 3 different modes: a low, a standard, and a high. I've been just keeping this in standard, and I haven't had any problems even in things like low light. And you can tell me, in standard, how's this looking? Am I stabilized? Does it look all right? Well, in the last 10 days of me using this camera, I really haven't noticed any of those micro jitters. And like I said, even on standard stabilization, it does a really good job. In this scene, I wanted to show you that this camera has a 2x zoom. In the middle there, I don't know if you can see it, but there's actually a down log with some roots exposed. I'm gonna go ahead and do a 2x zoom. I'm not gonna move the camera just so you can see how much closer we can get to that log, as well as to the furthest bank. All right, now this is 2x zoom. You should be able to see that fallen tree in the middle of the river a little bit better. And of course, hopefully you noticed how much closer that far bank is now. This is an example of 2x zoom. And again, that should show you right there how good this zoom is. You can see I'm back in 1x zoom, the normal zoom. You can see how far away that bank looks. So in terms of build quality, you know, all action cameras these days from the major manufacturers are built pretty well. The 2 features I want to focus on are the lens, because the lens is made by Leica. And if you know anything about Leica, they are an award-winning lens company that's been around forever. Then secondly, they've included this flip-up screen. Now, this seems funny to kind of rave about, but I didn't have it for a long time, and I really did miss it. Of course, it helps when you're doing things like this, a talking head or a vlog, but it also helps when you're doing B-roll and stuff. So imagine you're shooting down low up at your subject, right? Normally, on other action cameras, this is fixed. So the camera's like this, and you can't really see what you're shooting. But because this has a flip-up screen, you're gonna be able to flip this up and manipulate the flip-up LCD so that you can check on things like your framing. This has been a useful feature that I just think goes along with the way I view action cameras. It should be fun to use, and it should be easy to use. That was wild. I don't even think I got my boot wet, son. I'm like a cat. Take 2. Is one other feature that I kind of saved for last on purpose. And it's also another feature that really causes me to grab this camera over some other action camera options. And that's because of its low light mode. Now, Insta360 calls this PureVideo, but instead of me just raving about it, I have an event in town to go to tonight, and I'm gonna bring you along so that you can actually see how well this does in low light and how well it does with stability in low light. So listen, I'll leave it there. Let you guys be the judge, but I think that looks good. And I think for me, it kind of solidifies what they did with the Ace Pro 2, and they made an upgrade. And I don't take that word lightly because we haven't seen an upgrade from one generation to another generation in a long time. When Insta360 reached out to me in China and challenged me to use their cameras again, I was very skeptical on many levels. But all the issues I had with the Ace Pro, things like micro jitters, things like the way it dealt with light, things like exposure issues, I did not have any of that with the Ace Pro 2. So my hat is off to you, Insta360, and especially your engineering team, because you did, as you said, you did listen to us and you made an improved product. So much so that when I'm going out, and this isn't a show, folks, this is the truth, because of the ease of use of this and because of the still photos this produces, this is the camera that I'm going to be grabbing for most of my adventures. And listen, if I want to, I can put ND filters on this. I can follow the 180-degree rule. I can make this look cinematic if I want. But at the end of the day, I don't want. I want to be part of the group. I want to be part of the experience, and I want to be part of what's going on instead of being that guy over there in the corner, not even part of the conversation. Having a camera like this that has a reliable automatic feature and it produces really great video and again, stunning pictures, in my opinion. This is the camera that's coming along with me. Now, you may have noticed if you have a keen eye that some shots I was actually using some of their accessories to include these three different lenses. Now, they have a ultra wide lens, a cinematic lens, and a macro lens. They also have a whole host of other accessories that really put this camera over the top in terms of usability and just plain old fun. If you're interested in any of these products, I will have links down below. Insta360 has given my audience an exclusive discount, and I actually get a little bit of credit if you do choose to use those links. They're affiliate links. So it's a great way to support the channel. It doesn't cost you a thing, and you're going to save some money. So thank you again, Insta360. Now, if you are interested in some of these other accessories, I don't want to go into it right now, but you might want to check out this video. Go on. It might not be there. It might be down here. Watch it. Watch it, because to be honest with you, Insta360, the platform that you're making, I'm really digging. Anyways, my name's HillPhantom. Please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you next time.